3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so let's get to work on this little guy. So if you want to download the reference, just go to my website, drugfordave.com. This is what you'll see. Just scroll all the way to the bottom and you can download the reference. So let's open Nomad Sculpt. Okay, so we're using a new scene. Of course, as always, I sculpt in matcap instead of lit PBR. And I'm in orthographic. All right, so let's bring in our reference. So we'll tap here, reference image. We'll tap here, import photos, and then we'll just find the photo. So which one? Let's do this little guy first. X that. Then I want to tap transform so we can move the image around. The rain is really coming down back there. All right, so that's pretty good. Tap on the screen again to go back to sculpting mode. So he's got a round head, a little bit of bend at the bottom, but his head is pretty round. But it also looks like it might be elongated a little bit. Not elongated, but it might be stretched back a little bit. So first let's deal with this little bend in here. So I think that should be pretty easy. So we have our sphere. Let's go to our symmetry and let's go down to show line. That way we can see our symmetry lines. So we want X and Z, I believe. So now we have the X and the Z. So if we have symmetry on and say we go to move, we have symmetry on, you see these 4 dots, everything is going to be symmetrical. Green would be top and bottom, so we don't want green, we just want left and right, and then back, front and back. Okay, so let's push up the bottom of this sphere. So we're going to use the move tool here, symmetry's on, and we're going to raise it kind of big, maybe to like 250 or so pixels. And let's see how that looks if we raise it up a bit. It's pretty spot on. So we just pushed on the bottom when we pushed evenly. We'll name him Greenie. I guess we'll spell it right, Greenie. Okay, so that's pretty good for the top of his head, I would say. I'm going to turn it to the right, and I just want to bring it out a little bit. So I'm going to turn off. See the blue line? I don't want it to be the back and the front, so we're going to turn that symmetry line off. So we turn the blue off. There we go. So now we just have the red, so we still want symmetry, but when we pull the head back, it's just going to be the left and right sides. And we can't really see the back of his head, so I'm just kind of, making it up as I go, which is what I always do. But I think that looks good. So let's go back to front. So now he has a little round body, and it's sort of like a tail. Obviously, this is AI, but I actually like AI stuff because it just forces you to really think and make improvements to this general design. I'm gonna make the head a little bit bigger. Don't really have a good reason why. It just sometimes, it just feels like it needs to be a bit bigger. Also, now that I'm looking at it, we might need some more room for like the forehead later, but for now, I think we're okay. So let's do the body. So let's go here, add, sphere. So we have to label these too. So we'll tap on these 3 dots. We'll name the original one head. And this can be the body, so we'll rename that body. All right, and let's hit gizmo, and then we can use the gizmo to kind of move it around. So we want to bring it down. We'll make it pretty small. Something like that seems good. Yeah, I think that seems pretty good. Now it looks like he's pretty wide on top. So let's go ahead and validate. So we're gonna make it officially part of the scene. So we validate that. And I think we can use the move tool. I'm gonna tap front again. I'm gonna tap symmetry as well. So we only have the red symmetry. But now I'm just gonna use the move tool, and I just wanna bring the edges up because as you can see, it doesn't really curve in to his head. It kind of comes out a bit. So more like this. Maybe I'll make it a little bit smaller so I can just kind of spread out the sides. But I still want it to be nice and round. I want to keep those shapes, those nice shapes. So I want to keep it nice and round. The back we're going to have to kind of make up. Looks like he has a tail. So we're going to have to make that up as we go. I'll just pull it back a little bit. Maybe make him a little bit pudgier, a little bit rounder. So I think that's good. So now he has these little legs and the little arms. The legs look easier. They just look like they're pretty round. So we have the body. Let me do a quick save. I save often. 1.78 seems to crash often. So I save often. Even if I have autosave, I don't trust autosave. So let's add another sphere. And we can hit the gizmo. We'll bring it down. So they're sort of on the side of the body. There's only a little bit of space between the legs and the body. So we'll make them pretty small. We'll bring them up. We'll move one over. Obviously we're going to do two, but for now we'll just work on the one side. Maybe we can skinny it up. So it looks like it would be something like this. Yeah, it looks like it would be something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and mirror this. And then take a look in the front. So they also look like they'd be a little bit more on the sides of the body.
What's up, guys? Don't forget to give me a like. Really helps my channel out. I appreciate the support. Back to the video.
Okay, and maybe tilt it out a little bit. And now see how the gizmo is in line with the sphere. So any way we move it, the gizmo changes. See, it's pointing in the direction. So for example, if you want to go straight down, what you can do is hit align. So when you hit align, it aligns the gizmo with the whole world, so the whole project. So it's no longer worried about how you tilt the circle. It doesn't matter. This is always going to be up. This is always going to be right. And this is always going to be, full, that direction, that axis. So it's useful in things like this where you just want to move it straight up and down. But let's make it a little thinner. And actually, let's make the body a little bit thinner too. And now when we look on the side, the legs are pretty much straight. We can trim the bottom, so I'm not worried about that. We just want to get this leg shape. So let's use move. And we don't really need symmetry, so we can turn that off. Let's hit the legs. I wasn't even on the legs, I was on the body. The body, let's turn symmetry back on. Let's make sure that we're on the legs, which we didn't even validate yet. So let's go ahead and validate them. And just so you know, we mirrored the validate. So if I go back, we mirrored it. So when you validate, it's always going to be in a mirror here. So the sphere is going to be in this mirror. So let's go ahead and name the mirror legs. I'm going to name the legs too, because eventually we're going to join them. So now we have our legs. So the best way I think to do this flat part where he's resting on like a floor is to make actually a surface. So let's add a cylinder. Let's tap the gizmo so we can just bring it straight down. We can shrink it. Oh, actually, why am I shrinking it? We can make it bigger, and then we can squash it. Like so. And I'm going to tap the 3 dots, and I'm just going to raise the post subdivision up 1, or maybe 2. And then I'm going to validate it. Just gives it a little more geometry so it's not so soft. And you can take round edge if you have, and you can round it out, but it actually looks pretty round, so I guess I don't have to do that. And also, this is just something that I've been doing since I've been printing. I'm going to raise everything up to this median line, to the horizon line. Because when I bring things over to Blender, I want to bring them into Blender right on the Blender's horizon line as well. If I bring it in like this, it shows up like this, and then I have to move it up, and it kind of gets annoying when it's just simple to bring things up to right about here. Or maybe I'll just leave it there. Let's do a quick save. Okay, so now let's go back to these legs. So he needs room for the arms, so I'm going to move him up a little bit. I'm going to take everything. The cylinders actually, when we made it, it actually went into the leg mirror, so I'm just going to long press it and drag it out, and then rename it floor, or FLR. So I'm going to take everything except for the floor and just kind of move it up a pinch. So now I'm going to tap on the legs, and let's just use move to make more of a leg shape. So this part goes pretty much straight down. There is a bend in it. I'm going to make the move a little bit bigger. The reason why I make the move tool a little bit bigger is so all the movements are smoother. We don't want our clay to get kind of lumpy. So we do everything kind of smooth. So that's nice. That looks pretty good. But I also want to bring this in a little bit. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I think I want to bring this. I might want to do new legs. If you don't like your legs, just do new legs. I'm going to do new legs. I just want them to be more round. I think I like overworked them or something. Okay, I mean that's actually pretty good. I think I might have made a bit more work than I needed for myself, which is normal. I just bent him out a little bit, but honestly, I think that looks really good. I'm happy with that. All right, so I'm going to validate those. These are the new legs. If I edit this out, then these are just the first legs. So I'm going to put legs for the mirror and then legs for the legs. I guess I'll leave it in. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. Actually, I make a lot of mistakes. All right, cool. So let's do some arms. I'm going to try to do the arms just as simple as I did the legs. So let's add some more spheres. Spheres are our friends. And we'll do shrink. All right, and actually let's do, so this is pretty good. It's a pretty good size for the arms. So let's validate them. They're in our mirror, so we can rename them arms. Let me make sure that okay. I have the iPad Pro 2022 M2. It gets so hot and it always stops. It always causes me to stop working. It's actually extremely annoying. Doesn't feel too hot. Okay, so we have the arms here, and I want to stretch the arms out, but not just with this way stretch. I want to, although that looks okay. I want to use symmetry, and I want to change the symmetry line from the red X to the blue Z, because I want to stretch them this way. So now I'm just going to use the arrow, and it's not going to work. Do I have to do vertex? Let's go to group and vertex and see if that works. There we go. So I want to move them out a little bit like this. So now I'm going to turn symmetry off, shrink them a little bit, maybe move them. Okay, so now we can use the move tool and we can sort of just push them in the general direction that they're going to be. We don't need symmetry anymore. So now we're just going to sort of manipulate them. Let's use smooth and just smooth them out. The clay is pretty soft, so they should be pretty malleable. So that looks pretty good. We want to move the back sort of into the body. So you just kind of have to kind of just work them in. Make the move tool a bit smaller, kind of stretch out the end of these arms, and then just stretch them like towards the body. And then just smooth. I want all this to still look round and have some nice little curves. I'm going to use the move tool and drag the bottom part of the arm out because I want it to be a little bit more round. See how it's like, I feel like it's too jagged. So I want to try to make this line a little more curvy. So sometimes it just takes, okay, that's a bit better. But I want to push this part of the arm down. There we go. So it's all about maintaining those shapes and keeping things nice and round. So now I'm just going to smooth because we did a lot to it, so I want to make sure we smooth it. I'm going to voxel remesh it. This is just a shortcut. This is the same as going here, voxel, and then remesh, maybe to like 150. So I'll remesh it because we did a lot of like manipulating to it. So I'll remesh it and then I'll smooth it again. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, so let's do this little tail. So we kind of have to make this tail up. Let's save. So we'll add, do I have everything labeled? Yep. We'll add another sphere. We'll move it back. So let's shrink it. I think that's good. So that's good, we can validate it. Let's go ahead and label it tail before I forget, and let's get it out of this mirror. Tail. Okay. Oh, my phone looks so dark up here. Okay. So now we can pretty much make the tail how we want. So I'm going to take move, I'm going to turn symmetry on because we want to do both the left and the right side. And I kind of just want to drag it up towards the body. Maybe widen it a little bit. And then we can press down. So maybe something like that. And I kind of want it to be like, maybe like sharp at the edge, but like wide in the middle. Sort of like a dinosaur or an alligator. So I'm going to push and pull until it curves up, kind of along with the body. Oh, that's too long. It's way too long. Looks terrible. So let's shrink it up. Yes, that's better. Much better. And it was that easy. So I'm going to take move, and I still want to shrink this. And I think I want to actually, I want to have a nice curve to go along with the body as well. So let's make sure we're on the body. And I'm just going to kind of push and pull. Okay, that's pretty good. I want the tail to be a little pointier. And then maybe we'll just kind of widen it up here. It's still a bit too, you know what we need? Flatten. That's what we need. So let's flatten these sides. Okay, we flatten these sides, and that'll give it more of a triangular look that I think I kind of wanted. Okay, I like that. So now let's just smooth it out. Anytime I flatten, I go ahead and smooth. Symmetry is on, so we're doing both sides at the same time. I think that looks great. You can even do a little bit of flatten on the top too. The flatten tool is like not the same as it once was. It kind of did a turn for the worst, but you know, that happens sometimes. All right, let's flatten. Okay, that looks good. Now there are these little things, so we can put some details on him. I still want this to be nice and smooth, but I think I want to merge the body. And that might be easier to smooth all that out once we merge the body. But for now, let's take drag. And I just want to take the body and kind of just use drag and then slowly kind of push and pull. Maybe even thin it up a little bit. Yes, there we go. That feels a bit better. Might be a little tuck there. So that's a little bit more of a nice little curve. The tail is still a little bit it's really important to pay attention to your profiles and your silhouettes. That's what really makes characters really nice and really cool. You want to have nice silhouettes. So while we're here, let's do something a little bit extra. So we have the tail. Let's add some more spheres. You know I love spheres. So let's take our gizmo, we'll move it up and back, shrinky poo, squash. Okay, it looks great. And And we'll mirror it and we'll move it out. And let's shrink it up a little bit and let's bring it down and shrink. Let's bring it together. All right, so now we can use move or drag. But now with our spheres, let's make some, let's validate. Oh, and what are these called? These are called plates. What are those plates called? I can't remember. We'll just call them tail plates. Platelets, I can't remember. Okay, so let's go back to the spheres and then back to move. Make it nice and small. We can actually use symmetry, I think. That's kind of a different shape. I like that, but I want them tilted out. That's a nice shape. So let's clone it. And remember, we have a line, so now we can just move it straight out, straight down. We can shrink it a little bit. We can add it right in there. And maybe we only need 2. But I do want to line them up a little bit better to mesh with the tail. So I'm going to turn a line. Will that help me if I turn a line off? Let me see. If I tilt out, that actually looks better, yeah. So let me go to the other one and tilt out and tilt it this way so it's a little more in line with the tail. I like that. Okay. All right, I'm already thinking of things I can do to print this. We could cut out this middle section. That way I can color it something different. I can color it something different and then just plop it in there. That'd be perfect. All right, so he's looking good. Let's make sure we save. And let's take care of these trimmings. So let's take these legs, trim. Just want to show you my trim tools, or my trim settings. I think everything else should be normal. Yeah, everything else is normal, but these are my trim settings. Just in case yours isn't doing what mine is doing. So trim, rectangle. And now we just want to cut a little bit below. So I'm going to tap right a little bit below there. So we don't want it right up to it because it's going to make it go ugly. So we want it a little bit below. That might have been too far below. Let's take a look. If we solo, see, it makes it kind of go a little bit ugly, but that's okay. We can leave that for now. And let's do the same thing with the tail. It's probably only a little fart's worth, but that's okay. So we'll go underneath and just cut it a little bit. Nice. Okay, so now there's like these little round things in the head. I like weird stuff like that. So we have our tail plates. They look good. Let's go ahead and add, I guess we're gonna add some more spheres. Gizmo. We'll bring it up and back. And I think I want to stretch it. We can go ahead and mirror it. And the only thing we really have is the image. So we're just going to try to match up to the image. Even though I do these kind of things with all my characters. I make these cute little weird pieces like this. Let's clone it. I think I want to make them a different color as well. Maybe I want to tilt these back a little bit. Oh, I kind of like that. I think that's really cute. Okay, that looks good. So let's add some of these little cute little antlers. Those might be fun to make separate as well. Okay, so let's label this mirror. These are the head. We'll just call them ears. I don't know what they are, but we'll call them ears for now. So we'll go back to the head. We'll add, oh, how do we want to do this? Do we want to do a tube? All right, let's go with the tube tool to make the little antlers. So we'll go with path. And let's see, so they're like snugged up to those little thingies. There we go. So we'll just add this like so. Looks good, so we'll press that. Pretty good. I'm just gonna use the gizmo to kind of move it more in the correct position. So something like that. I still don't know how to make this a round at the edge. I don't think, yeah, I don't know how to make it round at the edge. I feel like there's a way. I feel like there's probably a way, but I don't know how to do it. Anyway, so that's okay. So let's make it a little thicker. So let's press the tube tool options so we can have our nodes. Let's hit spline. That makes it nice and curvy. And now let's make it a little bit thicker, like so. Maybe even a little bit thicker. And don't forget, you can take creative license, and you can make it look how you want it to look. So I'm just gonna adjust these nodes so that it looks a little bit, oh, it's kind of big. Make the whole thing a bit smaller. Okay, go back to tube. Add another node in there. I want to make sure that I leave room for these two other little guys. Okay, so something like that. Still kind of big, but that's okay. All right, so, and also I might want to hit radius. Ooh, that's weird. Might want to hit radius and make the bottom a little bit thicker. I might have to hit radius twice so I can make just the bottom a little bit thicker. Okay, I'll widen that a little bit. Okay, I kind of like that. So we'll see if that works. There's these two little pieces as well. So let's go ahead and make those. So I think, what's the easiest way to make that? I'm just gonna go ahead and validate this one part. So this would come around. Let's just have a tube party. And let's hit spline right out the gate. So let's make this other one, which kind of makes like a U. Okay, so we'll just kind of place it on there. Sort of like that. We have that nice U. That actually looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks nice. So the only thing is we might want to make this a little bit wider at the bottom. So again, I'll hit radius twice and just make the bottom one a little bit wider. It just feels right to me to have a little bit more at the bottom. Okay, so this actually looks good. So let's validate that too. But now I want to take this tube, clone it, and I just want to flip it. So let's go to symmetry, local, and then flip object. So now we just flipped it. Now we can use the gizmo And this is really messed up. So let's go ahead and hit pivot center. So it's going to center the pivot to this tube that we just made. And I just want to do, I guess we can leave it here. I was going to do a line. Oh, make sure you hit pivot again. So now we have the other side. We can sort of tilt it and kind of put it in position. So it looks kind of like that, right? They're kind of like in each other. They're sort of like melded together. So something like that. It's actually not bad. This one I'm just going to pivot center, pivot, move this one over a little bit, and move this one over a little bit. I'm going to do a line. Just move that over a little bit. I mean, it's pretty good. It's not bad. So now for these round edges that I find really annoying, and this is kind of an annoying fix, but I don't know what else I would really do. I'm just going to take all these tubes. Let's just take these tubes for now and join them and call it antlers. We can always separate them if we need to. But let's add some spheres and let's just make the ends round. Now, this is one thing that I have to figure out how to do, because it just seems like so obvious that there should be a way to just easily just, oh, make the ends round. Like, it seems like it would just be like an obvious thing that you'd want to do when you're using this sort of shape. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. But I feel like it would just save some, especially since we have like all these other options with the tube tool. I feel like this would just be like a simple one. Just like plug a sphere in to make the ends round. Okay, so there's one. Oh, it's a little big. There we go. There's one. I'm just going to clone, and hopefully these will match up. Got to be speedy with the gizmo. But that just comes in time. So it looks good. Clone again and add one here. But yeah, it would save so much time if there was just a way to make the ends round. But I'm sure someone will leave it in the comments. All right, that looks great. Yeah, that looks good. So let's validate all these. We can actually take all of these spheres and the antlers. Let's just join them all. All right, cool. So now I want to take drag, and there's a few things that I just kind of want to adjust. So I'm just kind of pulling this a little bit. Oh, it's actually moving the whole thing. That's all right. Maybe it's the move tool. One of them actually works on the joined parts individually. Is it move? Oh, it is move. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like you can move each individual part instead of all of them. It's quite strange. All right, there we go. So that's good. It seems like it's working out. Let me make move a little bit bigger and just kind of tilt that out a little bit. Perfectionist. They look great. So I'm going to do a quick save because you want to save before you do a voxel remesh. And we'll voxel remesh around 200. We'll smooth, and then we'll just smooth out the antler, and we should have a decent shape close to our reference. I think that's pretty good. And there is some like little pockets, so you can always add clay. You can always use clay and then just kind of like, you know, if you want to fill in those pockets, and then just smooth it out. And you can also voxel remesh lower. So say you want to take care, like you think that this is too much here, voxel remesh lower and then smooth. And now see how that's going down? So you can do that. Okay. I'm gonna voxel remesh back high again, 200. Okay, cool. Kind of solidify it up a bit. And now you can make any other little changes that you might want to make. Like I kind of want to stretch them out, but I think I might want to angle them back too. Smooth that out a bit. Okay, it's not bad. Front view looks pretty good. I want to tilt the whole thing up a bit, push it back. Okay, that's a nice thingy. Maybe I'll make the whole thing a bit smaller. Okay, nice. So now we can take the antlers and we can do add, mirror, mirrors to the other side. So we're good there. Validate, join children. So now we have our antlers. All right, let's go ahead and save. So you can put something on the, something on the back, but he doesn't really have anything. So I think personally, I think it's fine. So now we can do some interesting shapes up top. So I'm thinking that this would be nice as a plugin. But there's a couple ways that we can do something like that. There is a couple ways. So it could work with cylinders in a sphere. Okay, I think I have a plan. So let's do add and cylinder. I have to think on the fly when I'm doing these things. I'm going to move it up and just pull it forward so we can work on it. I'm going to do snap 90 degrees. So this ring will put it 90 degrees that way. You can leave snap on for now. So bring it to about the size. You can squash it a bit. All right, so let's go ahead and mirror this. So it's something like this. Pretty much something like this. Although the shapes are a little different, but that's pretty much it. So let's validate those for now. And we want to make something else in the middle too. So this is a mirror. I'm going to take the cylinder out. Yes, I'm going to clone the cylinder. I'm going to take one out of the mirror. So now this one, I'm going to go to the gizmo settings and I'm going to go move origin. That's going to move it back to the center of the project so I know that it's right in the middle. And this one I'll make a little bit smaller. And I'm just going to stretch it because this is the bit in the middle. I just kind of want to make them match up in width as well. So I'll just kind of match them up. Okay, so something like this. These can be maybe a smidge smaller. And now we want to go to symmetry, and we want, let's see. We want the green because we want the front and the back. And I think that's it for now. Yeah, that's it for now. So we can use move. So now we have these shapes, and all we need to do is make this shape here. So the bottom is straight. So I'm going to pull these two pieces together. It's straight, but it kind of goes up a little bit. Oh, you know what? I had to turn symmetry on. Go forward. Oh, no, let's go back. So we have green. We can turn the red off. Let's turn symmetry on. Only the green line. So now it should be a little bit cleaner now. So we pull these together, but there's a bend in them. Okay, there's also a bend out here. This kind of goes up a little bit. Then it comes down. And then this part, let's do the same thing. We just want the green. And then this part kind of comes up in the middle. Oh, we also want left and right. So let's go back. We also want left and right. Symmetry on. So we'll pull this up. I hope that's straight. Is that straight? I think it's straight. I'm not sure, so okay, it is. I get really picky with my symmetry. All right, so now I'm going to move this out. And it would be nice if we can make this curvy, but I think when we voxel remesh them together, this will become nice and soft. So I think this is pretty much it. The best we're going to do. We can make these a little bit more round. Maybe spread this out a little bit. So pretty much something like that. So I'm going to do a quick save, and then let's make this one piece. So I'm going to take the mirror and validate, and then take these two and voxel or join, okay? And voxel remesh them together at maybe 200. So now we have something like this. You can hit it with the round edge. If you don't have round edge, you can just do regular smooth with symmetry on. Not too hard, just go easy on the smooth. But yeah, that looks pretty good. These are nice and soft. So now we can kind of move this into the face. Obviously, it's not round, so that's the only thing we have to tackle now. So let's turn off the green symmetry because we only want the left and right. We kind of have to go rogue now, and we have to move this until it's like, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. I'm gonna clone this. I'm gonna clone this one, and I'm gonna hide one, because when I do the print, I think I want to extend this straight back. More print talk. Anyway, so let's go back to this and let's move. Even though I'm touching on the head, this object is still selected, so I can still push it. Okay. So sometimes you have to push and pull. So now I'm going to like go on the other side, like the outside, and kind of just pull it. Maybe even make this a little bit smaller. Just kind of pull it out so it stays pretty even. It's tricky. So now when we move it in, oh, it's close. See, it's close, but we kind of want to make it a little bit more form fitting, face fitting. So let's pull it out a little bit more. Let's make it smaller. Make sure we pull out this middle section because that can kind of get sucked in there. Okay, so we pull it out. Okay, I wonder if there's an easier way for me to do this. I wonder if there's like there's probably a way. I don't know it, but there's probably a way. Oh, you know what else though? The face can probably get flatter. Because if I go like that, this head is probably flat here, and I forgot all about that. Not that I forgot about it, I just didn't think about it. So let's go ahead and flatten the front part. Okay, so that shows us a lot. It shows us that this thing is way too big. Let's smooth it. So we'll make it nice and smooth. We can voxel remesh lower if we have to, but it looks like it's smoothing out well, so we don't really have to do that. So now let's take this thing and let's shrink it. If we shrink it this way, it should sort of flatten it a little bit. So this is pretty low. Maybe we'll expand it this way. Maybe we'll take the move tool and sort of make sure it's nice and round. You can smooth it again. Okay, that's nice and round. So now we can push it in. Okay, that's pretty good. So I might just take the head and just smooth it until it's how I want it to look. You can also use the flatten tool, but smooth is just a little bit slower. I'm doing things the hard way. I'm gonna flatten these. Sometimes it makes like little like corners, and I hate that. Okay, that's better. Okay, so that's one way to do it. There's other ways to do it, but I feel like that's the best way to do it. All right, so what's next? The eyes. I think we can get away with cylinders. Snap it forward, shrink. Okay, nice little round eyes here. like so. So I'm going to shrink them like this. And so we can mirror them, validate, and I'm going to hit it with round edge. Again, if you don't have it, just you can use the smooth tool. But I would recommend checking out that video so you can just make the tool. Okay, there we go. And if we think that all this is too small, we can always make this a little bit bigger. Okay. All right. So now for the mouth. So what we'll do for the mouth is we'll add a cylinder, gizmo. We'll turn it forward. We'll bring it out. So let's flatten it this way. Let's move it up a little bit. All right, so let's tap these 3 dots. Let's do linear subdivision and put this at 2. All right, so now what's the best way to do it? Let's validate it. You know what? Let's go back. So I might get this wrong. I'm not sure the easiest way to do it. So first I'm going to mirror it and then bring it out like this. And now that I'm thinking about it, thinking about this shape, you know what? I'm not going to overthink it. I'm not going to overthink it. So let's take these, let's clone this. Let's just clone the whole thing. The mirror and the cylinder. And then the top ones, let's go ahead and voxel remesh them together. Maybe around 150. Okay, so let's take the one below, the cylinder below, and move it up. And we just want to make this that sharp, that mouth shape. So I'm going to shrink this, but I'm going to stretch it out this way. So we're going to make the outline with the bottom, kind of like that. And if you need to adjust it, because it does come, actually that might look perfect. But you can always stretch this up a bit, or I guess not, maybe. You can increase the size if you don't want the sides to go up as far, if that makes sense. So just keep adjusting this until you can get the mouth the size that you want. I think that's pretty good. It's going through, so we're going to use this to cut out of that. So let's save and let's validate. So we have these 2 cylinders on top, so let's validate those. So we're going to use this. We're going to select both of them and we're going to hide the one that's above. So now we're only seeing the bottom one. The one that we raised up a little bit is hidden. If you're having trouble doing that, if the eyes keep opening and closing, just go down here to advanced and turn these off. Uncheck these. And then you should be able to get one to go off easily. So let's just save again because I can't remember if I did. And let's voxel remesh them together with the one hidden. 200 should be fine. There we go. Looks good. Probably don't even need to hit it with round edge. Let's see. But force of habit. So let's do gizmo, and now let's make it a little bit smaller. And I feel like it needs to be a little bit more squat. And maybe the middle can be brought up a little bit. So if that's the case, I want to turn on the green symmetry. Oh, and the red, but I wish I could reset this to the middle. Let me just see if I can. If I did pivot center, no, that doesn't do anything. If I go, how do I get out of there? Yeah, I guess not. Oh, let me get out of pivot. Group, vertex, this. No, so I guess I can't move that. That's okay. So we'll stick to this. I think this is fine. Let's see how it looks on the face. Let's take snap off so we can move it freely. We'll bring it up. Maybe it's a little bit big. So something like this. I think I probably could have made it a bit thicker. And again, I wish I could still use the symmetry so I could bring this up evenly, but we'll just kind of fudge it for now. But we're doing okay. We're doing okay. But I gotta remake this mouth. Who am I fooling? I did a terrible job. Gotta remake the mouth. Okay, so I have to pivot center better. So let's shrink these. I kind of want it something like that. I want to turn the green on. Turn symmetry on. Oh, it's not going through to the back, huh? Oh, so right now it's on the world. So I have to hit world and then hit local. That bugs me, because that's confused me so much when I'm trying to get things to work on the local scale, but it's on the world scale, and I think I'm doing something wrong, but really I wasn't. I hate that. Okay, don't want the green. I want the blue, I think. Okay, so now I'm just trying to concentrate on what this inner shape looks like. I think that should be good. So let's try. I'll save. Select them both, hide this one, voxel remesh at around 200. Let's see what that looks like. Shrinky poo. Whoop. Whoop. Okay, that's way better. Looks good. Okay, yeah, that's way better. Okay, so now he has a little mouth. And there's all these other little random things, but we could just put some eye dots on him, I think. I guess we could do these as well, but let's do some eye dots. Let's use, what are these? So this is the mouth. This is, oh, these are the eyes. So let's rename them eyes. We got antlers. So save your progress. So let's go back to the head. Let's add some spheres. Oh, I didn't mean to validate them. I meant to mirror them. So now we're just Gizmo, easy stuff now. Whoop. We'll just use these spheres and make the eye dots. I want to flatten them up. Okay, I want them to be kind of right on the surface, but nice and flat. And these are actually high on this little character. I'm going to take a line off so I can more easily put them where they need to be. And I'm going to validate, and I'm going to use move with symmetry. Oh, maybe I don't need symmetry. Maybe I don't need symmetry. I just want to make them a little pointier at the bottom. Yeah. Take smooth, just smooth them out. They're a little big, so I'll shrink them a little bit and move them out a little bit, which means I'll have to adjust them, but that's okay. Nice. Mouth is a little wide, so we'll fix that. And all of this comes out a little too far from the face, but it's really not too bad. The eyes, what is this called? We're going to call this eye band. So eye band, the eyes, and the mouth, all that can go together and just be pressed in a little bit more. Okay, and you know what? On the face, I'm just going to take move and just slightly move this in a bit. And even here, I can slightly move this out, as long as it doesn't look weird. In which case, I will smooth everything again. Okay, I'll take the eyes and move them in as well. I might have to tilt them out a little bit so they can be right at the surface. So if we want to, we can do these other dots really quick. So we'll do add, sphere, and we'll just kind of do them the same way. So we'll bring the sphere up, bring it out, go like this. Mirror, we'll move them out. Although I don't usually do this sphere, this I usually paint on. But let's flatten these up a bit. I kind of like that. I don't actually mind that they're not fully on that faceplate thingy. I'm okay with that. And it's actually a bit high too. I kind of want to bring all of that down. So there's these. What are the? Oh, not those. The mouth, the eyes, and the eye band. Let's just bring all that down a little bit. Okay. All right, cool. That looks pretty good, pretty good. So there are some other little pieces, but I think those could be like painted on. I don't think they need to be extra pieces. I'm going to clone the belly or the body. And this can be done in paint, but I might later on, I might sculpt something different. But actually, you know what? I'm going to save this project, and then I'm going to save as. So greeny, print. That way I can come back and adjust this for printing. So I'm going to go back and open the original one. So now let's go ahead and add yeah, let's go ahead and add all this stuff together. It's all the same color. The legs and stuff are the same color. So let's add the head, the body. What are these? Okay, not those. Okay, so we'll just put together the head and the body. Where are the arms? Oh, the arms and legs are here. The tail, the body. We join all those together and take a look. So that should be everything that's the same color green. So let's move this up to the, actually let's just voxel remesh it together. I'm going to do a quick save. So let's voxel remesh this together at, let's do it at like 350. It's high, but it doesn't have to be that high. Everything is still symmetrical. It's beautiful. So we can use smooth with symmetry. Just be mindful that you don't need to smooth it that much, because you want to maintain these lines like with the arms and legs and stuff. So you don't want to smooth them too much to where you lose that shape too much. But it's okay to look soft, you know, like a toy. Definitely want to give this a nice smooth. Okay. And one thing I'm thinking of, do we want to do inflate around these parts? Let me go to the antlers and hit blending like that, and then go back to the head. Do we want to do inflate? I kind of like that. Even around these might be nice too. You can make them nice and plump because you can always, so let's set these antlers back to opaque. Let's just see how this looks. So if we smooth this out, let's see what we think. Or does that make it look weird? I think that makes it look weird. Yeah, that makes it look weird. I think even just, this might look okay. Let's take a look with just one around the antlers. Might be okay. I think I like this, the round head. I think that's fine. Okay, so there is another thing that I want to do. Let's go ahead and validate these ear thingies. And we can get rid of these bits. Cylinder. This other cylinder we can get rid of. I'm getting rid of all the extra stuff because I made a copy of this file. Eyes are great, so I'm going to go ahead and validate those. mouth. Oh, these are the eye dots. I'll validate those and rename them. Eye dots. And you can pause and organize. Like I'm going through this kind of fast, but I'm just organizing what everything is. So feel free to pause and just kind of organize whatever helps you remember. Validate, and these are pink cheeks, pink cheek balls. Tail plates, validate, good. So let's go ahead and save. All right, we're looking good. I'm gonna turn the grid off. He's looking good. I think he's looking real good. All right, so I think we can just color him, right? Let me smooth this a little bit more. Smooth that here. It looks nice and smooth. Oh, this is gonna be a great toy. I cannot wait to print this. It's gonna be cool. All right, so let's color him. I'm gonna try to fly through this part. We'll go to lit PBR and change the color here. Sometimes I do like white and just make it rough, but lately I like to do like a terracotta color. So like something around something like this. And I like to do everything that color to start out with. So now we have our terracotta color, and now we can just start adding. So this is green. It's like a light green. I need to move it. So let's go here, transform, and just move it over here. So, excuse me, so we can see it easily. So it's like a nice light minty green. Something like that. Paint all. So that's pretty much the body. These are a little bit lighter. Those are a little bit low. They seem like they're a little bit. Yeah, that feels a smidge better. This is kind of like more towards a yellow, pale kind of color. These are pink, so we'll go to red, try to find that right pinkness, something like that. These are a more hunterish green, something like that. Maybe a little darker, maybe a little slightly more yellow. These are similar to this color, so I'm going to use my little eyedropper. Similar to this color, but a little more orangish. I think I'm doing way extra here. They're actually done a little bit down here. Something like that. And these are both black, so I'm going to link the eyes and the mouth. Actually, I'm not going to link them yet, because I might have to lower the size of them. Black. That's fine. The mouth. Oh, the mouth. There we go. Black. Looking good. Oh, these little antlers. These are going to be the same color as eyedropper, same color as this. So we'll touch those and then paint them all that color. I think it looks great. This, let's make sort of like a light bluish. like so. Okay, we'll do another save. That looks good. These might be a little high, but I could just be crazy. All right, so next, let's see what we want to do next. Let's go ahead and turn the environment off. Of course, I'm using my custom environment, but you can use any environment you want. But I always use my custom one. But for now, we're going to turn that off, so everything is completely black. You can take a look. Nice silhouette. Nice silhouette. I love a nice silhouette. So first, make sure he's facing forward. We go to our lights. We add one light. Let's rename it key. This is the key light. This is the main light. Even though this is a sun, it doesn't matter where this position is. All that matters is the rotation. I like to put the light about where the light is shining so that I just know that it's coming from this way. It just makes sense to me. So that's the key. I'm going to hit these three dots and hit softness. I'm a soft shadow guy. I like soft shadows. I like soft shadows and soft peaches. My light disappeared, so I'm going to go here and turn on light icons. So now we can see it. I want to turn the intensity up to probably about 1.71 or so, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit less. So something around there. So now we have that nice light shining down. So that's the first light. So let's take this light and clone it. We'll go back to the lights. This one will be fill. So that's a fill light. We're going to drag it over here to the other side. We'll drop it down and let's make it a spotlight, and then let's tilt it towards him. The shadow side. We're going to fill the shadow side with a little bit of light, but not as much as the key light. So I'm just moving it. There we go. So we got some light on it. Orient the light a little bit better. So we have some light on it, but it's a little bit too much. It's too bright. So we're just going to lower the intensity. So now we see the shadow, but it's filled a little bit. It's got a little bit of light, but it's still a shadow. So we have light, kind of dark, and now let's put a real bright edge on this back edge. So we're going to take this light, let's go back to our lights, we're going to clone it, and we'll name this one edge. This is an edge light or a rim light. So now this edge light, we're going to move it straight back. And up a little bit, and we just wanted to, let's move this orange node back. So we just want it on the back of him. So the top view. Let's turn up the intensity so we can see it. Use the orange node to make the beam a little bit lower. My screen just got really dark. I'll raise the intensity a little bit more. So let's take a look from the front. And now is a good time. Let's kind of like line them up with let's line up a good view. Hit the camera and then hit add view. And I'm going to name this one 1. So that's our first view. We could use orthographic now if we want, but I don't know. I like our perspective, but I like orthographic. So now I'm going to save. So see the edge light. See how that edge light looks? It's a thing of beauty. You can always go to that light and move it around as you like. If you want a thinner edge, more on the side, do with it as you wish. Okay, so next, this is usually a top-down light, but lately I've been using it on the other side. Let's clone edge, TD for top-down, but this is like a rogue light. We can use this for anything. We could bring it up and forward, and we can put it down over the top of his head if we want. You can bring it forward like that. You can use the orange to make the beam a little bit smaller. So you can do something like that, or you can put it over here. So it's like another light, kind of a little bit more illuminating him from this side. Let's lower the intensity. So something like that. But either way, it looks pretty good. You can click the camera and go back to your view really easily now. So let's turn on post-process. So we click the little shutter thing, post-process. Looks good. I usually have reflection up, global illumination. You can play around with these. These are like the shadows and stuff like that. So you can play around with those and see what you like. Depth of field. That's why you can't see that anymore. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. And now I'm actually going to save this again. So I'm going to save, update it. So now that won't be there in the background. So everything is looking pretty good. The lights are looking great. Can probably turn down the depth of field a little bit. So there's bloom and there's a bunch of other things you can mess around with to see what you like. But I'm pretty happy with how he looks. Okay, so next, let me do a save. So next, I am going to turn on the environment, but it's a little bright, so I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. Although, it doesn't look that bad bright. It's kind of a cute character, so bright is kind of good. So here's the background. So you can adjust the background if you'd like. Maybe you want the background to be lighter, like this, or even like this color, or like a pink or something. I feel like that works for this type of character. And I just want to adjust the light to make sure it's not too bright what you're seeing. But yeah, I think this looks cool. I think this looks great. Let's turn perspective on and let's turn the focus. Oh, I think I just went back to, oh no, it didn't. So I'm gonna add view again and call this 2. I think the views go back and forth to even, they change this. So that's why I wanted to do both. But yeah, I think he looks pretty good. I think he looks great. I can turn all this stuff up now, just to show you. And last but not least, since I have a pink background, I might change this edge light to like a pink to kind of like bring him more into the scene. So if I go to edge, you can change the color here, and I might just kind of match it, make it sort of a pinkish color. But details. Oh, one more thing. Let's take everything and make it subsurface. Let's turn it down to around 1. Wait, I think I'm past 1, aren't I? Where do I want to be? Oh yeah, 1. Subsurface always makes things look good. Some things don't have to be, like the eyes don't really necessarily have to be subsurface. The mouth too probably doesn't have to be. Those are nice. It's just like regular black. The antlers, you might want to take the antlers, use your little eyedropper, and you might want to make them a little bit more shiny. Oh, the eyes too, actually. Take the little eyedropper and just make them a little bit more shiny. Kind of makes sense for the eyes. And even for your little character, you can decide if you want your little character to be, you know, more rough or more shiny. Might look nice a little shiny. But yeah, I think that's about it. So now we have our little guy. Okay, come on, go away. Go away. There's always like a little dot or something. I gotta figure out how to make all this stuff go away. Anyway, hope you had fun. Hope you learned a lot. Can't wait to see what you guys do. Keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all